He started recording.
Nice.
We're live. All right. Do you want to get us started, Atlani?
Where do we start? Malinalli. Malinalli is going to be this week's class. What does Malinalli stand for, or what does it translate for, or translate to? It's basically the twisted plant or twisted weed. Think of any type of plant. They basically kind of grows on trees. So basically, like uses a tree to grow. Sometimes it can shock the tree. Um, but that's basically what a malinali is, right? It's basically the type of plant that is gonna be essentially moving around, kind of like a squash would, like beans do, like morning glories do, like a lot of weeds do. There's multiple different weeds that basically just are gonna fight harder than others, and Malinali is known for doing that, right? For overtaking a particular area and essentially marking its presence and doing everything that it can to be able to survive and to not be stopped, right? So that is one of the big traits of Malinali, the fact that nothing can truly get in its way. The plant itself will find, if something gets in its way, will find a way around it to be able to continue to grow and to reach basically, usually, the highest point that it can to be able to gain access to light or to the sun. That's one of the things that I would say is quite distinctive about Malinali. No, it's Pilar. What would you like to add?
I would like to add that Malinali is also a sign that, other than just symbolizing the spiral and life itself, it's a sign that reminds us that plants and other, green things, like growing things, are medicine for us. And that includes mushrooms and different kind of medicines that are well known of, like ayahuasca and all this. And so Malinali is also medicine, but in a person, or in as a tonali, it also speaks to us of what it is that we do so that we can be medicine, not just medicine for others, but also medicine for ourselves. Um, yeah, I think that's all I want to add for now.
No, it's Nemo. So what else can we say about Malinali while we're waiting for Noinitzing Nemo to continue to work on the technical issue? Um, its regent is Pactecat. Pactecat is basically the regent or the lord of or the energy of plants, of medicine, right? So that goes to touch on basically what Noinitzing Pilar was just saying, right? Malinali is heavily linked to plants and medicine plants, uh, to be more uh, precise on basically what Pactecat is. So it's essentially this idea of us being able to use plants for multiple different purposes, for our health issues, right? I mean, if we are getting sick, there's a plant that can help us for multiple different ailments. Um, if we're basically trying to do some spiritual work, it will help us with that as well, right? There's plants that will allow for us to do that. If we need to sleep, right? There's plants to help us do that. So there's a lot of different plants. They have a lot of different uh, features that allow for us to be able to use them to be able to better ourselves, right? So that's another thing that I think that goes to what Noenitzin Pilar was just saying, as far as how Malinalli is also linked to medicine, right? Noenitzin Pilar?
I think I'm going to go ahead and move on to the translations that I have provided. And if Nemo has anything or Tekbat has anything they want to add, they can go ahead after that. Um, so for this document, we have Malinalli, twisted grass. The orientation is Huitzlampa, which is also known as south. The color is yellow, and the region is Pateca. Um, Malinalli is a sign that represents change and renovation through activity. It expresses the action of being like a weed that grows and expands as far as it can reach. No wall can stop its growth. It will grow into the seams and use them to its advantage. On some occasions, it is represented emerging out of a human skull through the mouth, referencing the regeneration of life. Life cannot be contained. It expresses itself in as many forms possible and resurges from sites least expected, just like Malinali. Malinali is also associated with the cyclicity of time and how things always come back around. It is not just a grass, but a twisted grass, indicating the ability that some types of plants have to be braided and weaved into all types of things like baskets and pots. This can be an allusion to the capacity for creation inherent in the sign. On another level, Malinali is a symbol of the human mind and will, which seeks to learn and achieve, which doesn't stop in its progress, which accesses and contacts things as it goes along its path, making its way in manners least expected. Next, we have Malinali is a symbol of much willpower, which sometimes is something difficult to bear. Those born in this sign can be willful people that almost always get what they want. They don't hold back when it comes to expressing their opinion, and they always look for a way to come out on top. When balanced, those born in this sign are dedicated people that get to the bottom of things when they want to. They are tenacious people that achieve whatever they put their mind towards despite difficulties they may encounter along the way. Malinali is also associated with medicine, including power plants. It is said that many born in this sign become medicine men and curanderas. The sign's region is Patecat, who is the patron of all medicinal plants. Those born in this sign have a capacity for helping and serving others in ways more than just medically. In Mayan tradition, the Nahual or eb can be understood as path, in allusion to its representing a day of successful willpower that pushes us to walk the path towards our destiny. For those born in the sign of Malinali, it is said that they are altruistic, with an ability to influence others, with great creativity and very firm willpower. They can have ups and downs in life that can lead them to become pessimistic and bitter. If not balanced, they can be foolish, unmeasured people. Okay, and then next slide is from a different document. Um, and in this document, I really like how they express this, and I hope that my translation gives it justice. Malinali, twisted grass, weeds. They represent spiritual growth in the form of a spiral. always advancing, completing things, but not in the same spot, always just a little higher. Like walking up the steps of internal knowing, it's the form in which it is born from within us. It is how we worry, it is how we busy ourselves, our body, our mind. It is how we form our thoughts on what we should do to grow our unconditional love towards all that surrounds us. Love towards that which is intangible. We cannot see much, but we can feel that it has a great value, or at least more value than tangible material things. These thoughts and frameworks help us a lot in the systems which envelop us, but they cannot take us to a place of experiencing things with only joy. The spiral is simply of movement that leads us to change levels, bettering our qualities, teaching us to vibrate in a harmonious way with all that surrounds us. All right. The next slide is for the regent, but I want to see if Dekbat or Nemo have anything they want to add. Are you guys there?
We try to get microphone is that in yours.
Yes, I can hear you guys. Well, I heard a bit.
So as far as Pactecat, while we're waiting for the technical issues, one of the things that I would add about Pactecat is how it's also related a lot to Ockley. Ockley is pulque. Is basically the fermented drink from the blue agave. And there's a few things to say about that, right? Pactecat basically, uh, in some of the mostly explains how this drink can also be used to basically alter your consciousness state, right? So it isn't just the simple idea of just getting drunk. This wasn't in some societies, it wasn't a drink that was meant to be had every single day by everyone. There was actually a lot of restrictions about who could drink it. And there was a lot of penalties depending on where you were living in relationship to what you did while you were basically under the influence, right? So Pacteca basically talks about that, about us having to work, do that internal work, about doing that energetic work. Basically, it's medicine for energy, medicine for the spirit. It's gonna be medicine for uh, anything you can think of that you may need, whether it's your body, your feelings, your energy. Is basically the relationship that it has to the plant itself. And the plant itself also has obviously in itself this association with plants, right? Or is plant. So this in itself makes it to where the power of the medicine is basically multiplied. When you see basically things um, that are basically duplicates, right? you're gonna it's basically a way to tell you that these things are is the energy is extremely strong in that sense. And Noinit Pilar and I were discussing this earlier on how when reading a tonal, right? When reading the energy of somebody, and you see basically the name or the regent or any of the energies basically displayed multiple times or a couple of times, that is essentially an energy that is going to be extremely empowered within a person. So if a person has two tlalocs, two tech pads, right? That basically that is what it means. It basically means that that particular um, energy can be extremely beneficial if used properly by the individual, or extremely negative if not used properly by the individual. So we can see that with Malinalli and its relationship to medicine in a lot of different ways. No needs in Pilar or no needs in Nemo?
I'll give them a second to answer, and if not, I'll go ahead and read the slide. I'm going to read it. Okay. It says, patron of the plants of power, Patecat is also associated with the use of all types of medicinal plants. This is why those he is regent of are capable of learning about them and are able to heal with them. Patecat is also a deity heavily related to Pulque, alluding to the ability of spiritual healing through different states of drunkenness. Since it is known that in antiquity this fermented drink was considered sacred, it was not an accessible medium for people to obtain sensorial pleasure. Patecat reigns over the sign Malinalli in the sequence of days. And so that just goes back to what Nitsin Atlani was talking about, how it is a medicinal use. I feel like there are a lot of things that were medicinal use and have kind of been exploited for their sensorial pleasure. But yeah, that's what we have for Patecat. And unless anybody has anything else they want to add or some questions, we're going to move on to the next slide. Okay. So this is the first slide of the PowerPoint that is provided to us by Temachtilistli. And this is the lesson that Malinalli gives us. It says, Shiktemaka wan shimotekmaka ken patli. Deliver and give yourself as medicine. There's this concept that is displayed here with the Ouroboros. I don't know if you guys are familiar to that, but it is the snake eating its own tail, and it's the cyclicity. It reminds us of how everything works in the universe, basically. It's everything comes back around, and that includes what we put out as medicine, as we interact with other beings, as we interact with um, our environment, with nature, with the people that surround us. Um, so the cyclicity of everything reminds us to give medicine so that we may receive it, to give love so that we may receive that. Because if we give poison, then we will receive poison. And if we give fertilizer, we will get fertilizer. That's just the censored version of what our teacher says. um, Do you want to add something like Nitsin Atlani?
So the cyclicality of it, right? I mean, I think that that is you're referring to the snake uh, eating its tail. Quetzalcoatl is a reference to Quetzalcoatl, and all of us we are Quetzalcoatls, basically. That's basically what we're trying to reach for. Um, Quetzalcoatl is a title. It's basically the point a person reaches when they have basically reached a point of consciousness. A lot of us, a lot of big teachers have taught us about, right? You can bring Christ into this, Buddha, all of them talk about this. Quetzalcoatl is the same concept of reaching your full capabilities, reaching balance, um, and being everything that you can be. Everything is recyclable. So are we, right? Uh, and just like Noinitzin Pilar said, right? You're gonna get what you give. And that talks about the cyclicality of things. Because if you start giving out, you know, seeds to the ground and watering them, eventually you will see how a Malinalli is going to go through this full cycle of life, showing us also that cyclicality of life, right? We can see that during the winter, during the seasons. It shows us basically how everything is a cycle and how we are basically that cycle as well. Um, there's also this idea that we are medicine, right? And our word is medicine. Anything that we give out to people can be medicine or it can be poison, right? We can be extremely um, positive people or extremely negative people. And it comes down to basically our choosing, right? We can be people that radiate energy, or we can be people that suck other people energy, right? How do people do that? I mean, anytime you give somebody a comment that is not too nice, you're sucking their energy. Anytime that you're basically disparaging their goals, anytime you're being just not the most positive person that you can be towards a particular project or idea that they may have, you can basically suck their energy, right? So do you want to be that person that is basically doing that, sucking energy out of other people? Or do you want to be this person that is actually going to radiate energy to other people, right? Make them feel better about themselves, make sure that they're encouraged to be the most that they can be for anything that they're trying to do, right? Uh, that is basically being able to help other people with our own energy. And the beauty of it is that things like that are free, right? Giving a compliment to somebody doesn't cost us anything. Uh, and sometimes it can actually give us energy. So being nice for the sole purpose of maintaining your energy and maybe acquiring more, I think it's a good idea to do. No need sing Pilar or no need sing Nemo or no need sing TechPad.
I have a really good. Oh, go for it. If you're trying to speak, we can't hear you. Looks like they're still having technical difficulties. We can also, you guys can type what you want to say since the mic isn't working and we can read it out loud. That's another option that you guys can do. I'm going to go ahead and share like a anecdote of a really good example of what like Nitina Adlani was saying. I I go out for walks multiple times a day because my son does not like being inside. And so I was kind of a fearful person before, and I uh, feared the interactions with strangers, right? Because, I live in America. I don't know my neighbors. And it was really difficult for me to start um, trusting and being that medicine. And it's gotten to the point where we went out for a walk yesterday, and every single person that I saw, we said buenas tardes, because well, we live in a predominantly Latino area, and so I feel more comfortable saying buenas tardes than hi or something like that. And so we said hi to everybody, and everybody that we said hi to, my son, he started talking, so now he says hi too. And that's why I do it, right? Because I want to show him that example of like giving that medicine of like recognizing somebody and saying hello, and I hope you're having a good day, And so every single person that we said buenas tardes to, immediately, if they didn't even respond with buenas tardes, what they did do was smile. They looked at both of us and they would smile. And that is like a literal payment, right? Like it's literally coming back to me by giving out that medicine, by giving out that positive energy and recognizing these people, these human beings that live so close to me. And so, yeah, I really like that experience, and I just wanted to share. Um, I also wanted to see, did I post something in the chat? Yes, fixing sound issues, not yet. LOL. Okay. Something else that I wrote down. Thank you for sharing. Yeah, you're welcome. Something else that I had written down about the Mashani's lesson for this particular slide was that there's this belief about mm, not sharing the knowledge because it can be abused or it can be exploited. And we have to understand that what we do is for us, and what they do is for them. And so if we share the knowledge from a positive point, from wanting to share it because it is good and because it is something that is giving us a better experience and we want others to have a better experience, that's what we'll get back. But if somebody takes it and tries to exploit it or does exploit it, or if they do anything with it, they'll get whatever they put out. It's not our responsibility to gatekeep the knowledge. And so I really like that reminder of just the right that we have as human beings to the knowledge, um, despite, genetic um, differences. Like I don't have blood coming from Guerrero, right? And so I, if we go through bloodlines, I don't have any heritage to this knowledge, but yet it is given to me and it has made my life and my experience better. And so therefore I feel good about giving it and sharing it and continuing this cycle of healing, you know? Um, it is our duty to the universe to be to be this medicine for ourselves and for others. And it is something that we have to work on both during the day and during the night while we sleep, which is why it's important to to learn how to ensoñar, to be awake in dreams so that we can practice and so that we can apply everything that we learn, because so many things are possible in the dream realm that are not immediately possible in the living realm. And that's just because of barriers that we impose on ourselves. It's not because of anything else. And so that's why it's so much easier to practice things when you're asleep, to practice things when you're dreaming, because it's like your body releases all of this self-imposed chains of what existence and reality is. I think that's all I have to share.
Can you hear us?
Yeah, yes, I can hear you guys. Welcome.
Sweet, thank you. Bear with us. There's a couple of buttons that we need to be careful in pressing. So, anyways, Malinalli is one of those reminders, right, of the very first exercises that we practice, especially the one where you spit up into the sky and whatever comes back. That's essentially a build up from that point, right? So you took the time to sit down in an environment, listen, learn, observe, right? And in that observance, did you not see a bias treatment at all whatsoever towards any being, a plant, insect, animal? And from my perspective, I don't see any bias. They all equally exist, walk, crawl, whatever you want to call their style of travel, right? But the fact remains that the sun shines, the wind blows, the earth is available for all. Doesn't matter whether they're a predator or a prey, doesn't matter if they are a genocidal maniac killer or a person that loves helping their community, right? So, what does that mean? We must come to understand that every belief, every thought, every ideal that exists, and you must understand that in their existence, there is also people who are going to strongly believe in what is being taught out from those out of that information. The same manner that when you learn this information, um, for those of you that hold it near and dear to your heart, it will be there, right? And you will practice it and you will get better at it. For those who don't, I mean, you're welcome for the information, but the point is for us to get better, right? The point is for us to get the best medicine that we can out to everybody, whether it is mental, emotional, vocal, right? Those are the three ways in which we can uh, share our internal communications, right? And so make it the best medicine that you can possibly give, right? Don't worry about what other people are doing. If other people are stealing the information, is it really stealing when you're openly giving it away? No. If they're charging, you can easily step in and just say, hey, we don't charge. For us, it's free. Come join us. And that's it. Step away, and you need not to confront. You're not Jesus to go into the temple and, you know, turn over all the merchants' tables and start whipping all sorts of people. No, we're not that. On the contrary, we learn to exist with those types of mentalities, right? And so where you live, yes, there are certain boundaries and standards, but where I live, I don't have those. And so we must learn to compromise and and live, right? Because that's kind of the goal is for us, all of us, to exist on this plane. Um, if if you feel strongly and you say you have a calling to bring about a change, then great. We will know you were given that duty or that calling because things will happen and a change will come in play, right? But if it's just for a personal selfish reason that you feel it's your duty to do, liberate people or, you know, teach people and educate people, then I think you're perceiving life in a manner that is still Eurocentric because you're forcing other people to believe, to feel, to adopt your own personal emotion when they don't even think like you. Okay, so um, medicine, how can you give the best medicine when you've learned all this information? It's plain and simple. If the community builds up from your medicine, then you are good. But if your community crumbles because of your medicine, then that should say something about how you're using that medicine, right? And so, um, again, we must learn that the concept of good and evil is not the indigenous concept, right? The concept of good and evil, um, the I mean, it didn't exist on this part, right? We understood that there were certain things, and we understood that if you did uh, participate in certain styles of living, you could eventually create a whole bloodline of people that will eradicate all the food supply in that environment. And so it was a mutual agreement and understanding of everybody that in order for all of us to live comfortably the way that we are now, these are these are the things that must be done and followed in order for everyone to get along on this part, right? And every nation had their own way of doing it. There's not one specific way. And so you know your calling, you know exactly what it is that is pushing you to go forward, with certain things in life. And that is what you should build off of. Why? Because you're going to learn a lot of things about yourself and the things that you like, but you learn more about yourself in doing things that you don't like. So what's the thing that I'm trying to say here is go out and try things, right? The best medicine that I can possibly give you to be able to take progression towards decolonization is try new things. Try things that are outside of your comfort zone. Try things, try having conversations with people that are not in the same headspace as you and see if you can try to understand, right? The goal is not for you to change the person's perspective, it is for you to understand them and then get them to understand you, right? But again, the choice for them to understand you is not our choice, it's going to be that person's choice. So I I think that's all I have to say on that part.
So on this particular issue, the Noinitzin Pilar and Noinitzin Nemo touched into, this idea of this knowledge being passed on. On this class, a couple of years ago almost, I don't know if when you guys were doing the recap, if you guys noticed at the beginning how the Temachtilistli started talking about how somebody was talking about how this is information that shouldn't be disclosed to coyotes, coyotes, people of knowledge in Mexico. And by that, I really mean the people that hold true knowledge from the indigenous nations uh, are having this battle of whether or not releasing this information to people, right? And the reason why the Temachtilistli was making that comment and that came up is because of the fact that we are actually, in fact, sharing knowledge. And this knowledge doesn't want to be shared by a lot of people, right? And I created a page. And on this particular page, I started sharing knowledge, right? And when I started sharing knowledge, a person became really upset because of the fact that this is knowledge that in their mindset shouldn't be basically disclosed to people like us, right? Whether you're mestizo, whether you're a person of European descent completely, as long as you're not basically a person of the nation, they feel that this is information that shouldn't be disclosed. However, the idea here that the Temachtilistli has, along with a lot of different elders as well, is that this information uh, is needed and it has a lot of benefits, and we can see these benefits. I see these benefits myself, right? Ever since I started, I became in contact with this type of knowledge, my life molded and it started changing in a really positive way. And I think that a lot of people can say the same thing. But at the same time, there is a lot of people that are not okay with this information being shared. So I am of the idea that this information should be shared, not just because of the benefit that it has had for me personally, but because of the benefit that it can actually have for a lot of people and society in general, like Noinitsin Nemo was saying, right? If you can show basically how to empower people uh, themselves, they become no longer people that can be easily manipulated by, TV, newspapers, internet, you name it. A person becomes more aware. And that is, I think, the idea that the Temachtilistli shares as far as being able to pass along this information. This information is not meant for us to just retain it. Um, I was enjoying a lot having, a couple of days off and not have to worry about anything other than doing exercise those days. But that is the reason, or one of the main reasons why I started also um, uh, hoping to share some of this knowledge, right? Because this knowledge is not for us to keep. It's for us to basically take full advantage of it, help ourselves, but also, and more importantly, help others. We cannot be selfish with this type of information. It is basically meant to help a lot of people. And a lot of people, I mean, have survived centuries with this knowledge and using this knowledge. They have basically come and gone using this knowledge to their advantage and be able to survive in extreme conditions of oppression, uh, slavery, you name it, right? I mean, we all know the history. So that is the reason why I think it's quite important, this idea that we don't only get to learn this information, but we also get to share it. No need to Pilar or anyone else?
Thank you for sharing, Nagnitsin Atlani and Nagnitsin Nemo. If nobody has any more questions, I'm going to go ahead and go to the next slide. Okay. I can read this slide unless Brother Nemo would like to read it.
Yes, I can get it. Sorry, I dropped something on the device and started clapping. Anyways,
No pressure. I'm glad your mic works though.
yes, same. There's buttons that are not supposed to be enabled that were enabled. Anyways, so nipa tekateotsin. Nipa tekateotsin. Nik temaka wan nik selia paki. I am sacred medicine. I give and receive medicine. Nimitslasokamatilia noteotsin patekatsin. I thank you, sacred energy of medicine. Nochitlen tenichmaka wan tlen amo tinechmaka ipampa titlamatini. For everything you give me and for what you don't give me, because you are wise. Nimo iknotlatinilia patekatsin shinek yolish tlapo. I beg you, my great Lord of medicine, open my heart and my eyes. Xiktlawiluy, no wipajtekalist kampa, ni moyeknemitis. Illuminate my path of medicine in which I will harmonize. Nimokalaktia ikamiyek mawisot niktemakas wan nikselis yol tonalpajtekatsin. I pledge myself with great respect and honor to give and receive medicine from my soul and spirit. So this is one of my favorite plegarias or sayings. I especially am very fond of the section, the part where they are saying, I am grateful for everything that you give and that you don't give, because you know exactly what it is that I need. And so, how can I put it? So yeah, the story goes when I was younger, we grew up living under the poverty line, and what that means is that we were poor, like really, really poor. And so, one of the teachings that my mother would always like share with me is take care of your things, take care of the things that are given to you, because people give it to you with the greatest intention and sometimes even out of love. And taking care of that shows them that you appreciate the gift very, very much. But at the same time, if they don't give you anything, it's because they can be like us and they don't have anything to give. So you shouldn't be judging that person based off of what they could not bring, right? But you should be helping them and offering them more food, seconds, if not thirds, because they are in need just the same way that you are. And so for me, I correlated my mother's teaching with this plegaria, and it just blows my mind that the level of indigeneity that has been embedded with a lot of this indoctrination and simple things, simple little teachings like that, go to show that this information has been passed down for. Uh, I'm just going to be out there. I'm going to say it's been more than 100 millennia, more than 200,000 years, but that's just me. Um, the fact remains is that this knowledge has been around within our people since before we are even in modern time today. Um, yeah, I mean, just to show the resilience of what it is to be a person of beliefs of these types and how they never truly go away. And for that, I am grateful because during the time when I was ignorant of this information would be gibberish to me. It would be like a very arrogant, uh, patriotic American that gets a German handbook, and they open it to read it. They're gonna throw that thing away and start insulting it, right? Because that's what they do. That was me. This information would not be medicine for me during that time. This information would be poison to me during that time. And so, what may be poison for you now can be medicine for you later, depending on how you want to see certain things. And so, Uh, I will always and always be grateful for the things that I don't have, because it is because of those things that I aspire to do better or do more. And if I don't get those things, but other people can, I've accomplished my mission. But if I get it for myself and other people can't, then I would just enable myself to go the next phase and making sure that people get what they deserve. And so, um, yeah, that's been the teaching for for that has guided me for many years.
Next slide, maybe.
Yep.
I have something that I want to add to this slide. It's just a reminder, that this is just an example of a plegaria, of a prayer, that you can always come up with your own. It just has a very simple structure. You give thanks, you are grateful for what you have or know, and then you ask for what you want, and then te comprometes. You, how do you translate that? You say you will do what needs to get done, so that you may be ready to receive this, whatever you're asking for. It's this concept that sometimes is difficult for us, and we have to learn to receive just as much as we have to learn to give. And so the purpose of the prayer is just to say thank you, and to be grateful to Patekat, to the Patekat that we all carry inside of us, because we are all medicine, and we always have been, whether we knew it or not. And so it is our responsibility to take that knowledge and apply it. And we have to learn to let it flow, to give and receive. And so, you know, we can, well, like we talked before, it can be about the words we give, the literal medicine that we give. If you guys do smoke cleansings, you can help cleanse people once you feel confident in keeping yourself safe. But yeah, that's all I had to add for this particular slide. If anybody has any questions, um, go ahead, and if not, we'll move on to the next slide.
The only question I have is on the audio. Does the microphone sound good, or does it sound too loud? Or
I think it sounds good.
okay, thank you, appreciate it.
Yeah, it's fine.
All right. Next slide. It says, Mixcoapatecatzin tlenochi tlanemiliskayot. I don't remember exactly what that translates to. Can somebody help me out here?
Mishkoa, right from Mishkoat, meaning universe, or like the galactic environment, and then Patekatsin, so the energy that is in the overall space or the universe. And then I
Right.
don't remember what Nochi was. All my
I wrote down some notes, and it just says universe. It says Nishkwat from universe, and it's like the energy in the form of air or space. And so I believe it says that this is the medicine that is available to us in our universe. And so Teopatekatsin is energy medicine. Nahualpatekatsin is a spiritual medicine. Shihuipatekatsin is herbal medicine. Yolpatekatsin is emotional medicine or wise words. and Tezcatlipoca is consciousness medicine. And we're going to go into what each of those mean.
You have that right on point right there, no need to Pilar. That's what they translate to. Do you want to start us off with the first one?
So for Teopatekatzin, energy medicine, Teo is from energy, and so like Teo, like Tonal, and so it's medicine that can help us with our
energy.
With our energy, the energy that we carry inside of us. And then Nawalpatekatzin is for our spirit. It's our Nawal. Correct. It's the being that is not the Tonal, but it's like the Teot is the energy, the blood that we carry inside of us, and the Nawal is the being that we are in totality, like the spirit, the being that involves the outside of our physical bodies and our physical bodies.
Right, and what this is basically talking about is about how there's multiple different types of medicine that we have access to, right? For instance, the first one is really talking about how we should be able to do exercises to help our energy, right? How do we do that? How can we help our energy, right? One way would be via basically meditation, maybe doing Tai Chi, maybe doing something like yoga, maybe doing Kinam, which is basically what our elders used to do, right? So these exercises help a lot in basically doing that, giving us that medicine for our energy, right? Being able to make us stronger in a way that our energy is not going to be disrupted that easy. If somebody comes up to us and gives us, says something rude, but we're in touch with our higher energy, right? That might not get to us the same way that if we don't tap into those type of tools to help us take advantage of our energy fields. So that would be one of the ways that we can actually work our energy medicine, or some of the ways that we can do it.
There's actually a slide for each of these, so we can go more into detail further down the PowerPoint. Brother Nemo, do you have anything you want to add to this particular slide?
Just to remember that we are all medicine. Just what is your choice of medicine that you want to be?
And I believe the Temachtilistli reminded us at this point that it seems like a lot, but it's also a journey that we choose to take on for the rest of our life, to be the medicine in all of these forms, if that is what you choose, free will and all. So I'll go ahead and go to the next slide. And the next slide says, Nimoyolcuepas Patekatsin. I will become medicine energy. This is a phrase that you can repeat in front of a mirror or a jicara of water. A jicara is like what is that? It's like a squash that's been emptied out and dried. And so you can repeat that to yourself. Brother Atlani, would you like to add something?
So these exercises are really meant for us to talk to ourselves, right? When you're doing the exercise on the water in the jicara, the gourd, I think that's what is called in English. I'm not sure. But the reflection of the water really is what you're talking to, right? You're talking to yourself. And we are what we think, right? So think of it that way. If you start telling yourself all of these different things that we are, which are true, right? Um, they basically will become even more true. If you continue to tell a lie, eventually it becomes a truth to somebody, right? But if you start telling yourself truths, then eventually you will be able to tap into that truth that you hold and be able to accomplish the things that you're looking to accomplish, whether it's, a medicine for yourself or somebody else. And that is basically what Malinalli is speaking to us about, tapping into us, tapping into that medicine that we are in multiple different ways. No need sing Nemo?
There,
I think you guys said it pretty great and well. I don't have anything else to add.
I
I
believe
think I need to
there's
go
a
back and see the
second,
video because I don't remember this.
I believe there was a second exercise attached to this particular slide, and it was to get a pot, like a little container, and you say that this is who you are, and you are a recipient. You are something that can hold things, and you get to choose what you put inside of it and what you take out. And so you can put medicine into it, you can put stones, whatever you want. The concept, like the point of it is to understand that you are a vessel and you are the one that gets to choose what you put in and what you take out. But that's all I have to add for this slide. Is it all right if we move on?
Yes.
All right. Would you like to read this slide, Nagnitin?
I don't have access to the slides. No need sing Nemo. Would you like to go ahead and do that?
Teotepaxin, energy medicine. Tekatzin, tepaxin. Sorry, everyone. Take care of your energy. Be aware of the negative energy, thieves that are hidden in different spaces, and people. Ironically, family. Become aware if we are energy generators, accumulators, or thieves, takers, in other words. How do we affect those around us? Look into the eyes of people we interact with. Um, yeah. Okay. So there's a lot that comes with this, right? I know it's just 3 sentences, but from this comes the whole teaching, right? You go out in public or you go out in a club, right? You bump into somebody by accident. You don't know what type of person they are, right? And then all of a sudden you start feeling drained, you start feeling tired, you want to go home to rest. Okay? What just happened? You got your energy taken from you. If you are the type that when you go out and you're having a good time, you bump into somebody, they turn around and you're clearing it out, hashing it out, you both start, laughing, having a good time, then you are a generator of that medicine, right? Or that energy. And so you are enabling that other person to feel comfortable and positive and not fight. Now, in between are the people who build up energy. And those who build up the energy, they do so because um, eventually they will come to a point where either through an exercise or a certain experience that they navigate through, they will be able to invest all that energy and just completely focus and hone in on whatever it is that they're intending, right? So in this case, when it comes to the dream realm, they are perfect because um, they are able to exploit a lot of that energy when it comes to the dream realm. I don't know if Brother Atlani or Sister Pilar would like to add anything.
Um, I believe there were two practices that were mentioned by the Temachtilistli for the slide. And the first one we've already talked about, which is saliva protection. And so the saliva was believed to be very sacred. And so if you don't have garlic, if you don't have copal, you can always use your saliva and just, put some on your forehead in the form of an X or a cross, whatever you choose. It's for the four directions. It's not like Jesus's cross. Anyways, um, you can do that all over your body and all the important parts, or you can just do it on your forehead. And there was also mention of when greeting people, when shaking hands, you want to greet people with both hands. And so you shake their hand and then you use your other hand to cover over their hand. And so that is a way to prevent them from affecting your energy by touch. And so for what it says specifically in this slide about how people in our family or in our environment can affect us with words, it is because they try to put you down with comments and doubt. And so the thing is that people fear us for viewing our path as different. And so there's this fear in the unknown, in straying from the path. And that is what drives people to be this kind of like negative energy. But we have to look at this also as a lesson for ourselves, right? Not just recognizing how other people can put us down, but how we can put others down. And so we fear people for viewing their paths as different. And that is a lesson, right? To not mm, judge, to not decide what is the best for anybody other than yourself. And yeah, I think that's all I have to add for this slide. Nagnitin Aglani?
So I don't know if this is related to this slide or not. Sorry, I don't have access to them. But another thing to try and do is basically to look people in the eyes. And I actually tried that today because I'm always trying to do things that are exercises, right? So today I had somebody come over because I'm having a water leak in my pipes here at home. And they needed to look at the issue and give me a quote, right? Uh, when this person came over and basically looked at the problem, um, I stood face to face with the person, salesperson for the plumbing company, and I looked at him straight in the eyes when he was giving me all of the information, right? He couldn't look at me in the eyes. Uh, the reason why some people cannot look at other people in their eyes is because they're scared of being read. Okay, you can actually read people really easy by looking at them if they look at you back into the eyes. And a lot of people don't want that. And it's one of those things that I also do with certain people without knowing. I do it with my mother-in-law. My mother-in-law has these extremely amazing abilities to be able to read people. And she has flat out told me that I do it and that she cannot read me because I do that all the time with her. Uh, So that is another exercise that we can try and implement, being able to just look at people straight in the eyes. Um, you can start basically being able to tell and develop this skill of being able to read whether they're lying to you, whether they're saying the truth, whether you name it, right? So the eyes give out a lot of information, and I believe that's another thing that we should be exercising as part of Malinalli, looking at people in the eyes. No need sing Nemo or no need sing Pilar.
Yeah, I don't have anything else to add to this
I'll go ahead
other
and
than
move to the
the
next slide.
protections.
All right, the next slide says Nawalpatekatsin is spiritual medicine. And it reads, medicine for oneself. Knowing oneself is a fundamental part of living in harmony. For 13 days, do not judge or take to heart all the messages that others offer us, good or bad. Continue connecting with elders who have already transmuted into Mictlampa. Select at least 2 people to transmit spirituality to. Offer an object or spiritual energy. Empower a staff of power that during the 13 days is empowered to self-heal or heal someone else. And so all of these are just different trabajos, different exercises that we can do to practice spiritual medicine. This is slide 11. The only thing that I have to add is that the gift, offering an object or spiritual energy to someone, it can be something you already own. It can be jewelry. It can be a book, a PDF. You know, it can be time. It can be holding space. Um, you can make them something. You can give something you really care about and give it away. You know, the point is to connect to somebody else and offer that energy for healing. Nagnitin Nemo or Nagnitin Atlani?
Ooh, the exercises. Okay, so when one thing to really, really, really do your best to not forget this part is to make sure that you protect yourself, especially when you're transmitting energy to others, right? The reason being is because they may be carrying something that is not so positive for us, and we may be able to absorb some of that, and obviously it's going to end up, hurting us. Not like to the point of death, but hurting us in the sense that it's not going to help us. So uh, when you choose the 2 people, you can choose to give them a physical material object, right? And you're doing this with the expectation that you get nothing in return, and the benefit that you get out of this is the establishment of the community, which is going to be yourself, right? Your community right now, and you're building that up. So the establishment of that community, and so um, preferably you want to choose something that you hold near and dear to your heart. So for me, technology, right? My example, and um, I had a laptop, a gaming laptop that was given to me by the VA when I was in school for school purposes. And so that laptop eventually was a tool to be given to Temachtilli. And um, for me, that laptop, you know, I had invested a lot of money. I'm not even going to put or say the value of the money, right? Because now those parts aren't even worth that much. But I invested a lot of money into the laptop, a lot of time in getting to know it. I imaged it, re-imaged it. I installed different operating systems on it. I was running my servers on there. You know, I was really, really attached to this device. But when I heard this exercise, I knew that um, eventually there's going to come a point where I have to give something that I really, really love away. And turns out that there was a situation where Temachtilli had his device taken from him, his laptop. And so, with the help of uh, Brother Atlani, we were able to get that laptop to Temachtilli, who is now using it to, um, host his classes and more memory on the laptop than he will probably ever need. But he'll be able to store everything that he's sharing on that device. And so, um, if when it comes to energy, what is the energy that you hold near and dear? For me, it's happiness, it's positivity, it's bringing others up. And so, um, when I was younger, I was told never to be selfish with this energy because other people are going to need it. They're going to need to smile in a dark world. And so, um, I am the way I am because of those teachings that I was given when I was younger. And so, they still apply to this day, and in these exercises they apply. And so, um, just make sure that even if it's something simple like a small, gesture of giving energy, that's still good, right? But the real work comes when you push yourself to boundaries, or you're pushing outside of those boundaries, and that box starts growing and getting bigger because the boundaries just keep getting pushed, right? And so, um, get to know yourself essentially, and yeah, don't be scared. We all exist on this plane, and just because your way of thinking doesn't sit well with other people doesn't mean that you need to change and adopt their way of thinking just so that they'll be okay with you. Sister Pilar or Brother Atlani.
I think you were on point on it, Nemo. I think that these exercises are meant to give us a lot of energy, like we were talking earlier, right? A simple going out, giving people good morning, uh, does wonders to yourself. It basically lifts your vibration, it lifts your spirit. And all of these are things that we have to start putting into practice. If we do them once and you see the effect it has, it becomes kind of like a normal part of your lifestyle, right? At the end of the day, you end up changing without even noticing, just by by applying these little things uh, that we should in any society, right? Be medicine to other people, and in doing so, we're actually gaining more than what we're giving. No anything, Pilar?
Um, I don't think I have anything more to add to this particular slide, you know. Obviously it's already a lot of exercises, and the group chat is there, right? So that we can discuss if you have any questions for the students, I mean, or like ideas or stuff like that. And I'm open to receiving private messages as well if you guys have any questions on these exercises. I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next slide if that's okay with everybody.
Please.
Shupatekatsin, herbal medicine. Make a compendium of plants, seeds, roots, rocks, power amulets to heal and protect yourself for later. Make ointments, potions, amulets, combinations of herbs. Make incense sticks, and get an ate kokoli. You can also research in books or with grandparents and elders. Take courses, do workshops, take this class. It's all an example of different exercises that you can do to learn herbal medicine. I feel like a lot of us know the egg cleansing that exists, and that is also this herbal medicine. Los lavadas de huevo that I don't know if your grandparents did that on you, but they work. They help. There was a reminder in this particular slide that our culture has it all, and it is our not just responsibility, but it is a joy to help rescue it and to learn it and to teach it. That's all I have to add for this slide. Nagnitin Nemo, Nagnitin Atlani.
I think go ahead, no need Nemo, please.
Oh, I was saying that it's pretty self-explanatory, and I'll be right back. Sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, I think it is. It is self-explanatory of being able to use your different plants to be able to heal yourself. You know, I drink teas all the time. I make my different potions. I love that word. So it is basically one of those things where we can teach ourselves all the time. If we have a little bit of land, we can start growing our plants, especially if these are medicinal plants that are gonna help us, in different things that we may need. That's basically amazing for us to do, to surround with plants that we can actually use, whether it's on tea to help our body, whether it's by using the plant to do a cleanse or anything else. No need sin Pilar.
I don't have anything else to add. It's a lot. I am still learning, but I'm happy to learn all of that there is. It's easier if you start focusing on what's local to you and then work your way out. And so that is my only recommendation so far. If nobody has any questions, then I will move on to the next slide.
Go ahead, no need.
Nagniti Nemo, would you like to read this slide? Or
Yolpatekatsi,
maybe he.
emotional medicine.
Sorry.
No, that was my bad. Every day, give yourself positive emotional words despite the circumstances. Select at least 3 companions for 13 days to offer them emotional energy. Select some of the types of medicine you will use for the read exercise. Select a positive emotion to share: love, honor, responsibility. In a gourd or container, select one of the energies that you feel most identified or connected with: earth, fire, air, water, stars, plants, etc. And then select which elemental who you want to work with to heal others and yourself. Brother Tony, would you like to expand on this?
So, I mean, I think, again, it is kind of self-explanatory there as far as how the medicine is meant to be used, right? And what we can do as far as the multiple different avenues that we can take. Uh, when it comes to medicine of this type, one of the things that I love doing is this exercise of no sadness, right? No negative feelings. These particular exercises were basically uh, fighting ourselves to not be sad, to not be depressed, to not be full of anxiety. To me, that is basically taking full control of your emotions and being able to change the way that you feel in an instant. There's times, obviously, that you're not going to be able to do that, and it takes a lot of practice to be able to achieve that complete control. But that's basically the way that I see this particular medicine, right? By being able to control our own emotions, uh, by being aware of them. ¿No, Nitzin Pilar?
I think you guys have got it pretty well. It takes time sometimes to choose what element you want to work with, but you can always change it up and switch. It doesn't have to be something you choose forever. But it is a really great experience to do these exercises, and I really recommend them. If anybody has any questions, go ahead, and if not, we're going to move on to the next slide.
Next slide. ¿No, Nitzin Pilar?
All right. It says Tezcatlipocapatecatzin, consciousness medicine. Become aware of the power that resides in our Nawal, our internal energy. Teach and learn of your internal energy to harmonize with Xochiquetzali. Xochiquetzali is the beautiful flower. It is the beauty of life, of experiencing it. And yeah, the next one says, recognize the main obstacles to connecting with ancestral consciousness, whether it's family, school, work, religion, political systems, etc. And then once you recognize them, you can jot them down, and then you work on those main obstacles so as to basically liberate yourself from the chains. um, there is there's something that Temachtilistli always says, and I don't know if it was about this slide or if it was a previous one, but he says, sin ambición de ganar y sin miedo de perder, which translates to um, without ambitions to win and without fear of losing. That is the goal. The goal is to move in a way that you do not care what the outcome is, because you know that you are doing the good, or what we consider good, right? You're giving the medicine, you're giving flowers, cantos y flores. And yeah, we just have to remember, that we are these sacred beings, just as everything else is on in this existence, and it's important for us to not forget that. It is always best to be medicine and teach from our personal experiences, and so working on not having shame about what we have grown from, and being able to use those experiences to better help others is a exercise that we can do for Tezcatlipoca. that's all I have to add. Nagniti Nemo or Atlani?
To this, particular type of medicine, I would also add the idea of trying to connect with yourself, connect with your higher self, right? Look at yourself in the mirror every morning if you can, um, and be able to quiet down your mind and truly connect with yourself. Make sure that you give your higher self its name. Find that place where you can have that quietness, that time to be able to meditate, to listen to yourself. That is medicine, and that is some of the best medicine that you can get when you when you truly connect with yourself, with your high self, with your Nawal. The life changes basically. It sounds extremely oversimplified, but the power of you being able to connect with your high self um, is that empowering, right? When thinking about this particular type of medicine, my mind goes to that. My mind goes to doing that exercise as much as you can. First thing in the morning, seeing yourself in the mirror, seeing your high self in the mirror, and basically making sure that your friends, that you're in the same path, that you're working together to achieve that path, and the both of you guys are happy, because that is the duality within us. And if one of us is not happy with the other, that's when we can see some really, really weird things happen in our lives, where we lose control. We, end up with health issues, end up with multiple different problems, and that can be easily bypassed by basically trying to do this exercise as much as we can, I think. No, anything, Pilar?
I already went. Nagniti Nemo, do you have anything you want to add?
I think he might have stepped out for a little bit.
Oh, that's okay. I don't think I have anything else to add for this slide. It is a journey to learn all of these different types of medicines, and it is definitely a journey that starts off personally with learning what my Tonali reading was, and so that just kind of helps guide you on what you can use for your personal development into becoming this medicine um, that I personally want to become. I'll go ahead and move to the next slide. And so this is the last slide, and it just leaves us with questions to ponder. And it says, what have you done today to be medicine for others? Are you medicine or poison? Why? And so that really just reminds me of an earlier part in the lesson where it's like, we have always been this sacred medicine, whether we knew it or not. And now that you know it, by taking this class or by watching the YouTube video, what are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about the fact that now you know the power that you hold, not only over your experience in your universe, but the experience of others and those around you? And yeah, I think that's all I have to say, and that's all I have to add for this class. Thank you everybody for being here. Nagnitsi Natlani.
To this, I would also add to try and do an exercise every day. Every single day, if you can, because you're not gonna be able to remember every single day, or things might get in the way. But prior to falling asleep, try to do a recount of the day. Try to recapitulate how the day went, right? In doing so, once you're done recapitulating the day, you can truly ask yourself the question, was I medicine today or was I poison, right? And try to be better the next day, right? And change it little by little. Start basically incorporating this type of exercise at the end of the day, where you're basically trying to figure out whether you were medicine that day or whether you were poison. It's really easy because most events in the day that we have are fresh, right? If we start thinking about, how we were uh, 2 years ago, that is going to be an issue. But if we do it every single day, it becomes one of those things that makes us more aware of things that we might have been able to change, and that raises consciousness for us to actually be able to do it the next day without, much um work. It becomes more natural in a lot of different ways. No, Nitsing Nemo?
Practice makes perfect. Or if you want to be more anal about it, perfect practice makes perfect, right? And so um, you can't you can't climb Mount Everest if you don't know how to climb a mountain, especially when it comes to mountains that have snow or ice, right? Um, you can't. I mean, there's so many analogies, right? You gotta learn to walk before you crawl. I mean, you gotta learn to walk before you run and all that other stuff. And learning to crawl, it takes. I mean, there's so many. Anyways, we leave you with this. What medicine are you going to be? Do you want to be positive medicine that enables others, or do you want to be not positive energy that doesn't enable others? The choice is yours, right? We are not here to judge, for we ourselves don't even judge ourselves. And those are the exercises that we've asked you to attempt, right? When you look into the mirror, look without judgment or be without bias, right? And so, um, once you start learning to apply this on a daily, like on life every day, as you navigate, you no longer worry about what people are wearing, what they're saying, what they're doing. You care less about the fashion and all that other stuff. Then you are taking steps towards that. And so, yeah, just be the medicine you want to be. And I'll be open and honest. I want to be medicine that helps others become positive medicine as well and be more positivity for others. But we also must, when we do these types of exercises and we think this way, we must also think in the opposite aspect, right? Because we're a duality. And so um, you also must think about, hey, I'm attracting all this energy, right? And it's building up and I haven't gifted it away or anything like that. Well, guess what? Something of equal magnitude must also exist. Otherwise, you know, there's chaos and ruckus and time dimensionality doesn't even exist properly. And I mean, we can get into all the specifics about it, right? But the fact remains that one does not exist without the other, plain and simple. You may not like how they do it, how they live, but the fact remains is that they're there, and you must learn to accept and you must learn to live with the differences, right? So I don't know what else to put out there for everyone that we haven't been doing already within these classes. So be the medicine you want to be, and you know, don't let the judgment of other people affect how you want to traverse or navigate. Just remember that what you put out there comes back. I'll leave everybody with that. Sister Pilar.
Great. What questions do we have? No questions today. Wow, we did a good job.
Yeah, and the chat's always there if you guys come up with questions later. Or if you're watching this on YouTube, leave us a comment.
It says here, what herbs are best to have with us? Like constantly on the daily? I am in a noisy area and can't leave, so I will have to use the chat. Yes, no worries, no worries. Okay, so suggestions for plants to have daily?
So everything is with balance. I don't think that there's an herb that you should have daily. I think from the research that I've done, depending on the type of herb, you're supposed to have it either 7 days in a row every day, 14 days in a row. Some of them maybe only 3 times in a row, because some medicine can actually also be toxic, right? So you want to basically have a balance. And that's a really difficult question to answer. And the reason why is because there's a lot of different plants. I mean, if I could, I would have, you know, 40 acres full of plants. Um, there's plants that can help you with, multiple different physical issues, and plants that can help you with ceremonial aspects, right? The plant that myself, I enjoy having around a lot. I would say there's three of them. I would say Magwort would be one of them, just because he helps me out a lot with dreams. I would say Pericon would be another one. And the reason why is because it helps me achieve a state of consciousness. And it also helps me with cleansing areas. So I use it a lot for those purposes. The other plant that I love a lot is ruda in Spanish. I use it a lot to cleanse myself physically. Um, I basically have the plant and take a few of its leaves or branches and make it into this little potion and essentially take showers with it. And it's basically one of the plants that is also used in temazcales, in the sweat lodges, right? And it's basically used because of that purpose, because of its cleansing attributes. So there's so many different plants that is really difficult to say, you have to have this one. I think that there's too many to count which ones should be had. Wormwood, yeah, wormwood, ajenjo in Spanish. I have wormwood, or I try to have wormwood twice a week. It is actually one of the best plants, also one of the best medicines to make sure that you're balancing out your body as well. No anything Pilar, no anything Nemo, any other plants that you guys can think of?
No, I don't have anything to add. I'm not that very well versed in all of that. The only thing that I really take consistently is lion's mane, but that's just because it helps me. And that's a mushroom, so I don't have anything else to add.
And I think that, when it comes to plants, one of these days we should set aside some some time, and start discussing the different plants, because there's a lot of them, and there's so many of them that we can all learn from each other. Uh, Noinitzin, Koskakwatli there is mentioning quite a few there also. So, yeah, we will go ahead and add a list of different plants to the WhatsApp. Um, for sure, because I think that that's one of those things that all of us, like, especially if you're trying to be independent from the system, a lot of the medications that we take are derived from these plants. So why not take the plant directly and save your liver the headaches that it's gonna go
Hmm.
through by taking all of these different pills, right? So it's definitely knowledge that all of us should tap into. I don't think or consider myself as a person that has a lot of knowledge when it comes to plants. Uh, but I want to learn more, and I am positive that the more that you talk about these particular issues, the more that you learn about them, right? So yeah, Nanitsing, Nemo.
Of course, yes. If you live with family and people that are older, right, and they have heart condition, dandelion would be good to have, because dandelion is known to help uh, remove a lot of the cholesterol blockers in the veins. So when you take dandelion, it's supposed to be in small doses. So you're supposed to take like an 8-ounce shot with a full glass of water, and a full glass would be like 16, 20 ounces, right? Um, because that plant can remove so much blockage. If you ingest a lot of it, you can actually clog some of the veins, right? Because of the amount of blockages that you're removing. But it has been known to remove those blockers, and the heart medicine that exists today is made out of dandelion. It's just synthesized, right? It's synthetic. That means that it's created by human hands, not created by nature. And so, um, another good one to have would be if you have issues with kidneys, right? And if you live in an area where this plant grows, I don't know the name of it in in any language. I'm going to be honest, but all I know is that there are Doritos. Think about Doritos with the letter T. Doritos, right? We call them those. Those are stickers. This plant, you know, it comes with stickers. And so what you're supposed to do is, once this plant has grown out and sprouted, and the stickers look really thick and juicy, you want to cut 2 or 3 branches, let them dry out a little bit in the sun for about a day, and then um, boil those 3 branches. And obviously, you're not going to drink the materials here, okay? Because you can hurt yourself with these toritos. They're freaking huge. Anyways, um, you drink this tea, a full cup, for 3 or 4 days, I was told, because I used to have kidney stones. And that will help break up the kidney stones and also help extract them from your body. So, um, something to think about. Yes, Six Sun is giving us a lot of rare lists to put in the app. Yes, we are going to put this list in the WhatsApp. Um, it'll be a Word document. That way, if there are other plants that have medicinal value, you'll be able to put them in there and fill in the details of what benefits it has and stuff like that. So, um, Palo Azul, yes, uh, it's dangerous if you don't know what you're doing for kidney stones. Yes, of course. Palo Azul and la gobernadora. Okay.
La gobernadora.
Yes, if you plan on ingesting these, please do it with care. Obviously, um, reach out to knowledgeable people and get the proper dosage. Otherwise, you're going to end up hurting yourself. And those two would be the best for me. Why? Because one, I know my family has had heart conditions in the past, and then two, I've personally suffered from kidney stones. So I just recently went through a small passing of a kidney stone, and I think it was one of the few that remained in there when I had my surgery to remove one of those, and so that was embedded. And so I passed that yesterday, as a matter of fact. And I go to Tecpat and I'm like, I gave birth.
Congratulations.
It was painful.
I hope
But
you
I'm
gave
sure
it a
it's
good
much
name,
better now.
Nalitsing Nemo.
Yes, it's called Nemo. Little Nemo.
Nalitsing Nemo, can you stop the recording? That way we don't prolong the class for Malinalli, please?
Yes, of course.